When she first walks away from a good man, the feeling that washes over her is freedom. At least, that's what she tells herself. There's no more routine check-ins, no one asking how her day went, no late-night talks to lean on. At first, this space feels like a relief. She believes she has her time back, that she can breathe again without the weight of commitment. But freedom without true connection has an expiration date. The silence that follows doesn't stay neutral, it begins to shift. At first, it's just quiet, but soon that quiet becomes a presence. The absence of messages, the empty chair at dinner, the silent phone on the drive home, it all begins to hum in the background. She notices that what felt like space now feels like a void, and what unsettles her most is not just that he's gone, but how he's gone. No drama, no chasing, no desperate attempts to win her back. Just calm acceptance. That kind of silence cannot be faked. It's the silence of a man who has let go with dignity. And in that stillness, he becomes unforgettable. After walking away, she convinces herself that something new will feel better. Maybe another man enters the picture, fun, exciting, unpredictable. At first, it feels alive again. Late nights, sparks, and laughter. On the surface, she seems to be thriving, but underneath, something else begins to stir. That unpredictability she once mistook for passion slowly turns into uncertainty. The late replies leave her anxious. The inconsistency makes her second-guess herself. The excitement she thought she wanted now feels exhausting, unstable, even shallow. And in that contrast, her memory drifts back to him, the good man. With him, there were no games. His consistency wasn't routine, it was protection. His calm wasn't boring, it was grounding. He didn't pull her close one day and push her away the next. His words and his actions matched, and in his steady presence, she felt safe in ways she never noticed until now. She begins to see that excitement without stability fades quickly, but calm with depth only grows stronger. And it's in that realization that she starts to miss not the thrill, but the tranquility, not the chaos, but the clarity. What once felt ordinary now feels rare. The hardest part for her isn't always the big moments, it's the small, ordinary ones. A song comes on the radio, and suddenly she remembers how he used to hum it under his breath while driving. She passes by her favorite cafe, and she can almost hear his laugh from the corner table they always shared. These echoes slip into her days quietly, without warning, and they sting more than she admits. At first, she tries to dismiss them. She tells herself they're just memories, that everyone feels this after a breakup. But over time, she realizes, the weight they carry isn't just nostalgia, it's recognition. Each memory reminds her not just of him, but of what she lost. The kindness, the patience, the way he noticed details no one else ever did. And what unsettles her most is how these echoes arrive in the quiet moments when she least expects them. They don't come with drama, they come with simplicity. A reminder that love with a good man doesn't scream, it lingers. And while the world moves forward around her, these echoes stay, reminding her that some presences never truly leave. In the beginning, she may not fully recognize it, but respect is what sets a good man apart. With him, she didn't have to beg for honesty, it was given. She didn't have to wonder about his intentions, they were clear. He treated her not as someone to impress temporarily, but as someone worth consistency. At the time, it felt natural, almost ordinary. She mistook it for the bare minimum, but when he's gone, she starts to see the difference. She meets others who talk smoothly but act carelessly. She notices how rare it is to be heard without judgment, to be valued without conditions, and then it hits. Her respect was never ordinary. It was extraordinary. The weight of that realization doesn't come quickly, it builds slowly. Every disappointing interaction, every shallow connection reminds her of the depth she once had. The man she left wasn't perfect, but he gave her something priceless, dignity and love. And now, in his absence, that respect becomes heavy. Heavy because she may never find it again in the same way. Heavy because she realizes too late that a good man's respect is not just a gift, it's an anchor she'll let go of. At some point, the silence after the breakup forces her to look inward. No distractions, no excuses, just her and the reflection of her choices. Regret doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes, it shows up quietly. In the stillness of a night, when she scrolls through old photos, or remembers a conversation that now feels more meaningful than she admitted back then, begins to see the cracks in her reasoning. She left, thinking she could find something better, more exciting, more fulfilling. But in the mirror of regret, she realizes she wasn't just walking away from him, she was walking away from a man who gave her stability, care, and genuine love. The hardest part about regret is that it doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't care if she tries to move on. It lingers, showing her what she traded for temporary feelings. And while she might smile on the outside, inside she begins to wonder, what if I had stayed? What if I had chosen patience instead of impatience? The mirror doesn't lie. And when she looks into it, she sees not just her reflection, but the shadow of the good man she let go. There comes a moment she didn't expect, the moment she notices he isn't broken without her. At first, she assumes he'll linger in pain, waiting, hoping, but instead, she sees him rise. He starts improving himself, walking with more confidence, and focusing on goals she never saw him chase so passionately before. This realization stings, because it shows her something powerful. He didn't need her to become better, he chose to, and while she may have thought she was the center of his world, his growth proves otherwise. She sees him enjoying life, surrounded by respect, moving forward without bitterness. That sight carries a sharp truth. For a woman, watching a good man rise after losing her feels like losing twice, once when she left, and again when she realizes he thrived without her presence. It's not just jealousy, it's recognition of his strength. Deep inside, she begins to wonder if she underestimated him. She sees that his silence wasn't weakness, it was discipline. His distance wasn't emptiness, it was and the more he rises, the more she feels the weight of what she gave up. Not just a good man, but a man who didn't collapse when she walked away. After a breakup, she may tell herself she'll find someone better, someone who gives her more excitement or makes her feel a stronger spark. At first, this belief gives her comfort, but as time passes, reality tests that assumption. Every new man she meets becomes a silent comparison. She notices the little things, how they don't listen the way he did, how their promises don't carry the same weight, how their patience runs thin where his never did. She starts to measure them against the standard he unknowingly set, and the truth becomes unavoidable. A good man raises the bar. The comparison trap is cruel, because it keeps her searching for qualities that are rare, sometimes irreplaceable. She might find charm, but not depth, attraction, but not stability, attention, but not respect. And each time she compares, she feels the gap widen between what she has now and what she once had. The hardest part is realizing that the ordinary love she left was not ordinary at all. It was uncommon. And while she looks for someone who matches him, deep down she knows the search is more about chasing a shadow than finding something real. One of the most powerful things she feels after losing a good man is his silence. Not the silence of indifference, but the silence of strength, the kind that speaks without words. When he doesn't chase, beg, or argue, she starts to notice the weight of his absence. At first, she may interpret it as coldness, but over time, it reveals something deeper. He values himself enough not to plead for someone who walked away. This silence becomes louder than any text, louder than any call, louder than any attempt at explanation. It echoes in her mind during quiet nights, reminding her of what she left behind. She realizes that his silence is not emptiness, his discipline. It's the calm of a man who knows his worth. It's the quiet of someone who chooses growth over conflict, self-respect over desperation. And that quiet unsettles her because it shows her what true strength looks like. In that silence, she feels both his absence and his presence. Absence, because he's no longer there to give her attention. Presence, because the weight of his silence keeps reminding her of the man she lost. In many relationships, she may have felt that she held the power of choice, of presence, of walking away. When she left, she believed he would remain stuck in her shadow, waiting, hoping, and hurting. But when a good man doesn't chase, something unexpected happens. The balance shifts. Instead of him being the one left behind, she becomes the one looking back. His strength in moving forward rewrites the story. The man she thought needed her begins to shine without her. His growth, his calm, his silence, all of it makes her realize that she no longer controls the narrative. That shift is unsettling. She begins to feel the weight of her decision, not as freedom, but as loss. While he invests in himself, she carries the quiet burden of knowing she walked away from something solid, steady, and rare. Power, she learns, isn't about leaving. It's about who thrives after the leaving. And when she sees him rise, while she feels the emptiness of what's missing, the truth becomes undeniable. The power she thought she held was only temporary. In the end, the man who doesn't break gains the strength she never expected. Regret doesn't always come immediately. Sometimes it hides in the background, waiting for quiet moments to surface. For her, regret often shows up when life slows down, when the excitement of new faces fades, when she's alone at night, or when she sees reminders of how he treated her. She replays memories, the way he listened without judgment, the way he supported her dreams, the way his consistency felt like safety. At the time, she may have overlooked it, mistaking his steadiness for routine. But now, in hindsight, she sees that what seemed ordinary was in fact extraordinary. Regret is heavy because it comes with the realization that the past can't be changed. She can meet new people, but she cannot recreate the same bond, the same trust, or the same kind of love she once had with him. That knowledge lingers, quietly gnawing at her. The hardest part of regret isn't missing him, it's knowing she had something real and let it slip away. No amount of distraction, no new relationship, no attempt to move on fully silences that truth. And deep down, she knows that regret will revisit her again and again.